Hello Year 6 and welcome to today's lesson. We're on lesson 3 and lesson 3 is a two-part lesson. So today we are going to be looking at self-portraits, portraits of ourselves, and we're going to do part 1. So we're going to be understanding facial proportions, which means we're going to look at using a whole page, drawing an oval shape to represent our heads, and then marking the position in drawing the basic shapes of the eyes, nose, ears, etc. Now, I've been looking at your work over the past 2 weeks, and I think it'd be really helpful if while you listen to the video, you actually make notes of the key things that I want you to achieve during the lesson. Because I'm finding that when I look at your work, some of you have missed out on the headings or the STAR challenge, and I think if you make notes as you listen to the video, you will remember the key points that I wanted you to achieve. Let's see if we can turn the page. There we go. So today you'll be needing a paper, preferably a blank piece of paper, pencil, a ruler and an eraser. This piece of work needs to be kept safely. If you are in school doing the piece of work, then please take it home, because we never know what's going to happen. You could be at home next week or you could be at school. So take it home and then bring it into school. If you're at home, keep it in a safe place. Otherwise you're going to have to start again next week. Okay, so please, please, please keep your work safely. It is a two-part lesson. Put it in a folder so that you have it available for the following week. Looking first of all, what is a self-portrait? If you think about the word self-portrait, gives you some clues. I want you just to have a little think about that. Fabulous. So it is a drawing or portrait of yourself, focusing mainly on the head and the shoulders. Now, reflect on your learning that you've done. Can you name an artist who drew a picture of themselves? Can you think of an artist who drew a picture of themselves? Okay, brilliant. I heard some of you say Frida Kahlo. I heard some of you say Picasso. That's super. Fantastic. And then why do you think you would draw a picture of yourself? Why would you draw a picture of yourself? And that's something for you to think about and reflect upon. Why do people draw pictures of themselves? Why am I making you draw a picture of yourself? There could be several reasons. The last question is really, how do we relate this to the work, the project that we're doing? And I want you to think about why we would be drawing self-portraits in order to carry out the project masks. So that's basically us trying to understand the proportions of the face, so that we've got a better understanding of proportions when we design our masks. So our masks are made to fit our faces and the proportions of our faces. I've got a diagram that we're going to be using quite a lot today, and this is just a visual guide to help you with the proportions of the face. I think it would be really, really useful if you were able to, some of you might want to print the diagram out, that's perfectly fine. Others might actually just want to stop the video and go back to the diagram once I've modelled to you what you are going to do today. So our step 1 is all about construction lines and proportions, and we're really going to be focusing on the position of our facial features, where our facial features are positioned. I'm just going to talk the diagram through with you first, and then I'm going to model to you how we're going to go about doing that. So just so you have a better understanding of the diagram, here is the oval for the face. If you like, just what I'd like you to do in the air and looking at the screen, practice drawing that oval shape, just in the air, that oval shape, oval shape, oval shape. Fantastic. And that's what we're going to do before we actually start drawing on our piece of paper. We always give it a practice in the air before we drop our pencil on the page when we feel confident. So looking at this line, that's the first line we're going to draw today. Can you tell me, looking at the diagram and looking at the line, what is the purpose of that faint construction line? What is the purpose? I'm going to give you a chance to think about it. What is it indicating? Yeah, great work. So it's showing the middle of the eyes. The middle of the eyes. So that's the first line we're going to draw today. We're going to do our oval shape. Then we're going to draw a line showing the middle of the eyes. And it's halfway, meets the halfway mark of our oval shape. We've got that horizontal line. We've also got a vertical line down the oval down the middle of the oval of our face. What does that line represent? That vertical line. I'll give you a chance to think about it. Fabulous. It represents that our faces are symmetrical. Okay, what happens on this side generally happens proportionately on the opposite side. Our facial structure is geometrical. Marks also the midpoint of the nose, the midpoint of the lips, and the midpoint of the chin. Now that you've discovered what the halfway point indicates horizontally and vertically, you can see there are some other markings that we can use to support us, some other main markings that we are going to look at today. So we've got that halfway point indicated with this side line, and halfway of that halfway point indicates the bottom of the nose. Bottom of the nose. Then we look at that halfway point, and a third of that represents the middle of the lip, and another third of that would represent approximately the middle of the chin. So I'm going to model that to you now using the visualizer, and then you are going to give it a go. Let us see if I can skip to the visualizer. There we go. I've got my A4 blank page. As you can see, I've got my pencil and I've got my rubber. So I'm just going to practice, as I said to you, that oval shape above the page. Think about, you need room for the ears, and you might need room for some hair depending on your hairstyle, and you need room for your neck. So what I like to do, just to support me, just to help me, and this might help you as well, just indicate where you want your oval shape to stop. So that's the top of my head, that's going to be the side, give me some room for my ears, and that's going to be the chin. And then when I'm ready, I'm just going to start making that oval movement onto my page. And as you can see, when I'm comfortable, I'm dropping the the pencil down. If you actually look at the lines that I've used, they're not solid lines, they're sketching lines. And I can keep going around and changing and improving them. It's important that you get this oval shape right, because this is the base for our drawing. So if you don't get the base for our drawing right, what's the point of spending all that time adding the features? Get the base for your drawing accurate. If you're happy with it, good thing about pressing lightly is also you can rub out any mistakes that you make which you don't wish to have on your page. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I've got the oval shape. I'm going to get my ruler. As you can see, my ruler, this is not a great ruler, but it's still a straight line, which I'm going to use today because I did have a ruler and somebody in the house has taken it. We couldn't find it for today. So you're going to get your ruler or any object which has a straight edge, and you are going to find the center horizontal line on your oval shape, and you're very lightly going to draw a line, horizontal line across. I did that quite lightly, so let me just lift that so you can actually see what I've done. It's quite tricky because I'm trying to show you what to do, but it's also quite light. So you've done that horizontal line. Can you remember what that represents? Have a think, hopefully. And then you're going to do the vertical line equidistantly to position it in the middle of your oval shape. Okay, when you're happy with that, fantastic. I think mine's actually a bit skewed. Not too happy with that. So I've pressed nice and lightly. I can rub that out. There we go. I think it would be much easier to use a ruler that you could see through so you can get that correct. So I've got that horizontal line, I've got that vertical line. I've remembered that this line is the centre of the eyes, and this line is centre of the nose and centre of the mouth. Great. So what you can do is you can stop the video now and give that a go. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint while you're doing that so that you can look at the diagram and just have a think about what you are doing. Horizontal line, vertical line, horizontal line represents the centre of the eyes, and just the top of the nose, and that vertical line down the face, which they've made a dotted line, represents that symmetrical centre line down your face. Okay, absolutely fabulous. So now we're going on to the next step where we're going to mark the bottom of the nose, and we're going to mark the centre point of the lips. So I'm going to model that again using the visualizer, Mr. Visualizer. Let's go back to you, model that again. So this is the halfway point that I found, halfway. So I'm not going to, that's halfway of the whole face. Now I'm going to go in that halfway point, and I'm going to find halfway of the halfway point. So I'm only looking at this area. I'm going to mark that. It's the base of the nose. Okay. You want to make little notes on the side, very lightly. You can. Base nose, eyes. That might help you when you come to adding those features. So give that a go. You've got the halfway point, and half of that halfway point, this counts as your whole, you're going to mark the base of the nose. And then you've got this area, yeah? I'm just going to focus on this area, yeah? Below the nose, there's the nose, below the nose, and you are going to find a third of that, and you're going to mark that. And that is, who can remember, hopefully you can remember, if you said the middle of the lips or mouth, you are, that's fantastic, that's right. So there we go. I want you to finish that off. I'm going to go back to the diagram. Here we go. So back to the diagram so that you can just take another look at that and see what we're doing. I'll just talk through those points again with you. So we've got middle point of the eyes, middle point of the nose coming down, bottom of the nose, middle of the lips, and if we mark approximately a third, so we only take this area, we mark it into thirds, that will give us an approximate for the width of the bottom lip. The top lip, as you can see, is slightly narrower, but that also depends on your face and your features. So we'll think about that when we start to add detail. Great, so you should have managed now to put the main construction lines onto the face. And we're going to now mark the eye area and think about how the eyes are positioned. And what shape they are. So I just want you to have a little look and see if you can work that out on the diagram. So if you think about, why have they done that? How many eyes can fit across the face? There's a half. Let me point with my pointer so you can actually see. Oh, not my head, I don't want to move me. So there's half an eye, and that's about half an eye's width on that side. Whole eye across the nose. Eye. Okay, so I'm going to go back to modelling that for you onto the visualizer. And this is always quite tricky, and sometimes even I have to give it a few goes. So I'm finding that halfway point. You can see that halfway point there. I'm making my line a bit darker. Please don't make your line darker. This is just so that you can actually see it on the visualizer, because I can understand that's quite hard to see. So I'm just going to press a bit harder. So we have to fit in, as it showed on the diagram, one eye, two eyes, and a half an eye. So I just like to mark little markings where I think that's going to be. And when I'm happy with my markings, when I'm happy with my judgments, then I can actually go in using my sketching lines and drawing in that eye shape. Curve and a curve at the bottom. Keep working on that, keep refining that until you are sure you are happy. Might need to have it on that side. You're happy with your proportions and your spacing. I think I'm quite happy with that. I want you to give it a go while I move back to the PowerPoint and back to the diagram for you. Come on, diagram, we'd like to come back to you. It's fallen asleep on us. Let's try that again. Not sure why it's decided to fall asleep on us, but there's the diagram again. There we go. So really focus on the shape of those eyes, just very lightly, because you will be changing it. Great, so then you're just going to think about where those eyebrows are going to go, very lightly. Position them in. Don't add any detail yet. And looking at the diagram, thinking about whether you want to make any other markings on your construction page, then please go and do so. So we're going to stop there for today, and we are going to come back to this next week. Next week we're going to be spending a lot of time focusing on our own faces, focusing on the shape of our eyes, the shape of our mouth, and the shape of our nose, and using tone to develop our features, our facial features. The point of the construction lines is so that actually once we've got everything in the right proportions and we start to add that detail, it will look more realistic, it will look more like us. If we didn't spend time doing those construction lines, then our proportions might be inaccurate. So they are really important. Looking at your diagram and the drawing that you've done, I just want you to, sorry, I can't actually make this big, I keep trying and it's not very happy with me. I want you to ask yourself these questions just to monitor your progress and how you're doing. If you're not happy with what you've done today, give it another go. See if you can get it. It's really important that you get these construction lines placed, and as I said, you keep it in a safe place for next week. The first question I'm going to ask you: were you able to draw the face shape using faint construction lines? Were you able to do that? Hopefully most of you were able to do that. Did you add construction lines to support you with proportions? So that's our horizontal line down the face, our vertical line, positioning of the eyes, etc. Did you place the eyes in the correct place? I want you to think about the width of the eyes and how many eyes you would fit across your face. Have you started to think about the position of the ears and the lips? Oh, I don't think I asked you about to think about the position of the ears, so we'll pop back to the diagram in a minute. I just want you to have a think about that. And then I want you to actually go back to the diagram, which I'm going to go back to on my slide, and think about, have you considered all of those positions of all the facial features and used the construction line? So I'm just focusing on the ears there actually. If you have a little look, the top of the ear is just above the middle of the eye, the bottom of the ear is that just above that point that we use to indicate the bottom of our nose. So you might want to actually go and mark that on your diagram. I'm going to mark it on my diagram, just that ear shape. Come back to that and just show you, and just mark that on my diagram so I know where that's going to go for next week when I start to add my detail and I start to think about the width of the lips and add my detail. You might want to just put some of those basic construction lines in your diagram. That would be fantastic. And there's the diagram again. Please feel free to stop on that diagram and spend some time on your own construction lines and proportions. And then I'm just going to let you know what we're doing next week, so you're ready for next week's lesson. So we're going to start adding tone and detail to those individual facial features. So I'm going to show you some pictures of eyes and show you how they've used tone, some pictures of nose, show you how they use tone. We're going to be using a mirror, so it would be handy to have a mirror with you next week, or your phone, so that you can look at yourself in your phone or take a picture of yourself. And then we're going to use a mirror to observe our own individual features, so that this portrait begins to look a little bit more like us. I hope you've had a good lesson this week. Keep your work in a safe place. If you're at school, take it home. I hope you guys made some notes this week so that you really are understanding the work that we're doing, and then you're able to complete the task at the end. If you'd like to submit your work this week, that's absolutely fab. If you'd like to submit a picture of it so I can see how you're getting along, that's great. I'm actually starting to use some of those submissions and pictures that you send in and adding it to the PowerPoints. I don't know if you noticed that last week. Some of you submitted work and I actually added your work to the PowerPoints to support your learning. Have a fabulous week. Really looking forward to next week. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.